Before I start, my name is Karel. I'm from Spain. I come from a performance marketing background in mobile. 10 years ago, I started a company which I grew to 70 million turnover last year. I sold that company last month to focus full-time on a new venture. I've started together with a co-founder in Spain. We have offices in Madrid, Barcelona, and Berlin. We're self-funding. So far, we've invested 2 million out of our own pockets, and I hope we can build 100 million companies in the next 3 to 5 years. So, before I start, I have a question for you. Does anybody know who this guy is? Nobody?
For your nephew, is it?
No. This guy is a YouTuber. He lives in the south of Spain in a village called Sanlúcar de Barrameda. It's the second poorest village of Spain. It has a poverty index of 40%. But the guy has a big YouTube channel and he plays GTA. Who knows what this game is? I guess everybody knows GTA. GTA is a $4 billion franchise. They made between 4 and 5 billion on the last game, which is GTA 5. The mother company, 2K, is worth $7.3 billion. But here's something funny, and I'm going to have Danny Rep tell it himself.
Hola, soy Dani Rep, tengo 19 años y vivo en Sanlúcar de Barrameda, España. Mis 90 millones de reproducciones al mes representan un 6% de los PlayStats Watch Views de GTA y un 1,5% del consumo total de GTA, tanto de gente viendo el juego como de gente jugándolo.
My apologies for the rendering. It's the rendering on the big screen, but basically this 19-year-old guy from Spain represents 1.5% of the total consumption of GPA, and I'm gonna make that number hard. Now, let's go to the next. Does anybody know this? Game of Thrones. Once again, a 4 billion franchise. Is a top show of HBO, I think owned by Time Warner. My second thesis is that people watching GTA is bigger than people watching Game of Thrones. So as a broadcast content, GTA is bigger than Game of Thrones. So let's now go to what we do. So the games business used to be people playing games. But now more and more consumption of video games is people watching other people play games. Now, on this level, we have a lot of statistics platform. We have App Annie for mobile, we have Steam Spy for Steam, we have Google Play Analytics, we have Apple Analytics. There's a bunch of analytics tools to measure this 99 billion industry of people playing video games. Now, nobody really knows what's going on with people watching games. How big is a game in sense of consumption of people watching the game? So we're building PlayStats.com. To give you some numbers, we've written a bunch of algorithms to index initially the 6,000 biggest YouTube channels playing games. We've indexed a list of 25,000 games for console, for mobile, for PC, and for browser. We've indexed 9 million gameplay views, associating every view with a specific game, and then putting on tons of metrics in sense of video posts, views, likes, time, which influencers are playing, which demographics are watching. So basically mapping the consumption of video games in sense of people consuming a game by watching it. Now, the first results are astonishing. We've indexed more than 50 billion hours of gameplay view, and I'm going to show you some, as an example, I'm going to show you GTA. So GTA as a game, they sold 80 million copies of GTA at an average of 117 hours per copy. This gives for 9.3 billion hours of people playing GTA. Actually, it's funny because on average, every human has played more than an hour of GTA. So this is the consumption of GTA in terms of people playing GTA. Big entertainment, people playing, this is what we know, this is the 99 billion industry. Now, how big is GTA in terms of people watching GTA? I'm going to show you. So this is a preview of the platform we're launching in August. So if you here go to GTA, you see that GTA has accumulated on YouTube 44 billion views. So once again, every human on average has watched 6 GTA videos. In terms of time, the accumulated time is 3.3 billion hours of consumption. So going back and putting this next to this, here you have the watch. You see that 25% of GTA is people watching GTA. So the total consumption is switching toward people watching the games. Just to show you, so this is the evolution of, you see, the one at the top is GTA. This is the evolution of GTA. So GTA is doing per day 37 million views every day. Here can see the videos, the channels. We will have in the final version, we will have YouTubers that played it per language. We will have the engagement. We will have the time. This is incredible value for that brand because they launch a game every 4 to 5 years. If this wouldn't be happening, they have to rebuild their brand again and again. The brand of these people is being kept alive by those people playing those games and keeping this community engaged. It's a huge value. Now, let's go back to Danny Rep, the guy I talked about. Danny Rep has an accumulated 2 billion views on GTA and 150 million hours of gameplay. That guy alone, of 19 years old, nobody knows who he is, represents 6% of all the gameplays of GTA on YouTube. If we calculate that on the total consumption of GTA, that single guy represents 1.5% of the total consumption of GTA if we calculate consumption by the sum of people watching and playing GTA. This is something huge, and there's a huge value there that eventually the industry will shift and take into account. So basically, there you see that the watch part of GTA is big. Now, so the conclusion of this is, a game is not longer content to be played. It's already big in terms of content being watched. Now, the question is, how big? So, let's take big TV and compare GTA with big TV. So we have 9.3 billion hours on GTA. Now, I spent the whole afternoon trying to get the numbers of Game of Thrones. Eventually I got them. The biggest season of Game of Thrones in views was season 6 with an average of 25 million viewers per episode. There were 10 episodes at an average of 1 hour. That gives for 250 million hours of people watching Game of Thrones episode 6. There were 7 episodes, so that means that Game of Thrones, in terms of people watching Game of Thrones, is less than 2 billion hours. So the astonishing conclusion of this is that as broadcast content, GTA is bigger than Game of Thrones. I know it's difficult to get in, but the 3 lessons of this first part of my talk is, why is this not moving? Is first of all, The watch part of games is big. It's really big. The second one is influencer marketing is product marketing. You guys produce video games, you have to start thinking of yourselves not only as producers of stuff that people are going to play, you have to think of yourselves of producers of stuff that people are going to watch. And by the way, third conclusion, as producer of broadcast content, you're as big, if not bigger, than big TV shows. GTA on YouTube is bigger than Game of Thrones. I guess that the guy producing GTA is not thinking of himself as a competitor of Game of Thrones, but in terms of hours, he's not only a competitor, he won. To give you an example of this, I'm going to go to Goat Simulator, which was a Steam game launched by an indie studio. This guy launched a game. It was specifically built to produce visual attractive content. The result were 966 million views on YouTube, and this game made approximately 20 million in sales, and it was developed by a team of less than 10 people. Just because these guys understood the leverage of producing good audiovisual content. So now you're going to tell me, okay, this is all well, we're mobile, and what about mobile? So let me give you a game for mobile. Does anybody know this game? Yeah? This is an incredibly stupid game, but it makes for fantastic visual content, like this video, who had 10 million views. Once again, we measured the consumption of this mobile game on YouTube, and here are the results. Slither did 2 billion views on YouTube. I think it's a big number to take in, so I'm going to reference that in concrete numbers. If you take 2 billion views of a video and you take a CPM, let's take a normal CPM for incentivized videos in a mobile app, if you apply that to 1 billion views, that's worth 2 million of media spent at the CPM of 1. That's a value of 2 million. Now, if you would spend that money on paid for YouTube campaigns, you would do it at a CPM of more than 10, and we'd be talking about more than 20 million of media spent. But guess what? Here's the result. These guys were number 1 in the games category in 95 countries in a penny. They were number 1 overall in 52 countries. The only reason because of that is that the game was massively played. Of course, you'll be saying, yeah, it's a one-time hit. These guys, they were popular for a couple of weeks, and then it was over. So here you have the history. The game was launched in April. It immediately shot to the number 1 in the App Store rankings, and it is still on the number 40 position in the games category for mobile games in the US. By the sheer effect of YouTubers playing it, and by the sheer effect of building a game that YouTubers picked up and wanted to play. So actually, if you do some numbers, let's do some numbers for this Slither game, and I'm gonna approach it from 2 perspectives. One, a UA perspective. So if I have 2 billion video impressions, I do it at a 1 CPM, I get 2 million in user acquisition. If I do it at a 10 CPM, I pay 20 million in user acquisition. But now let's look at the numbers of installs this guy did. This is Android. They did 200 million installs. So I know all of you like calculating CPIs. So let's apply 200 million. The effect of this is a CPI between 0.1 and $0.01 CPI. So basically, and now comes the good thing. This is a calculation from a user acquisition point of view. But influencer marketing is not user acquisition marketing. This game was big because the YouTubers wanted to play it. So they built the game so that automatically it got huge views. So all this positioning, they got it for free. And here I come to my conclusion. There's a common thinking that influencer marketing is user acquisition marketing, and that's a big mistake. I'm going to be very blunt. Paying for user acquisition on YouTube is like paying for sex. You can pay for it, and you can continuously keep paying for it. But if you really, really want value, you have to build the product so that the YouTubers want to play it, and the only way to get there is to build a product that the YouTubers are going to, that the users are going to want to watch. I see you thinking again, yeah, that's all cool, indie games, they're cool on YouTube. It'll never apply on top grossing games. So let's have a look at the PlayStats of 2 top grossing games. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna take Clash Royale versus Game of War, and those are the real accumulated PlayStats of those 2 games. Per day now, Clash Royale is doing approximately 15 million views per day, and Game of War is doing 230,000. And by the way, most of these are on their official channel and they're paid for. These kinds of games have live ops, and they depend on continuously getting features and engaging an active community in the game. By designing the game so that YouTubers can pick it up, Clash Royale gets all that stuff for free, not only in user acquisition, but also in community engagement and actually engaging a community in use features and pay for them. Game of War is paying for sex. They're basically continuously paying to get user acquisition and paying to engage their users inside their game. So this is really important. And now comes the good thing. It can be quantified. The thing is, nobody just did it. We indexed this for 25,000 games. We have 1 billion data points in our system. We launched it in August at Gamescom. We will give out those data for free to all the developers. We will give you the data about your game, about your competitor's game. You will see all the views, all the engagement, all the YouTubers that have been playing your game and your competitors' games, the engagement of the YouTubers. I have here the demographics. Basically I have tons of information. So all that stuff we will give for free as of August. Now, I see you thinking again, how am I gonna make money? In my previous company last year, I spent $50 million on buying media. I had a team of 30 people optimizing data. The question, how will you make money on data, can only be said by somebody that doesn't understand high-scale performance marketing. Asking that question about this is like asking Google why they're launching Android and asking Mark Zuckerberg why he built WhatsApp. I can assure you, the sheer volume of people watching your game will have a strong effect on people acquiring your game and people using your game. And this industry eventually will move towards a data-driven, product-driven performance approach. And that's what we're working. So we are working on transactional business models on top of the data. We already did the first test campaign with a local company in Spain, and here are the results. We launched a game with YouTuber-driven, product-driven performance marketing. We launched it in 17 Spanish-speaking markets. We drove 3 million installs, and we reached #1 in 16 out of 17 markets, and in the other market, which was Puerto Rico, we were number 2 overall and number 1 in games. Okay, look, and it's just 20 minutes, so I finished. So I'll end with my contact details. Feel free to contact us. We will be happy to give you the stats of your game, and if you ask very nicely, also of your competitor's game. Thank you very much.